All right, everybody, good morning. We are back here at Allegany State Park. It is November 17th, and it is pretty much stick season. If there's a blue jay up there. I'm always getting distracted by birds. Dude, you're totally gonna make me screw this take up, dude. Looking right at me. Anyways, it's stick season here. Not only in Allegany, but here in Western New York. And stick season is not only a season that I definitely struggle with, especially if there isn't fog or other atmospheric elements like frost or good light. I mean, you can't really tell, but it is a kind of gloomy, overcast November day. And I came in here expecting there to be fog, and there is none. Although I did try to manage those expectations, but kind of got the best of me in the end. But I'm going to try to make today a little bit of a learning experience, and that's also kind of why I'm doing this video, to kind of talk about the things that I struggle with in this season and the things that I'm trying to do to remedy this trip to make it not a total lost cause. Because I feel like, you show up to a spot, you have expectations for conditions. Most of the time, you're probably not going to get those conditions, and it can kind of leave you feeling a little like you're backed up against a wall, like you're on your heels the whole time trying to make something work. So, all right, so if I'm being totally honest, I kind of pulled over here as a little staging spot just while I figure out where to go. My original plan was to go up to Thunder Rocks if it was going to be foggy, because I've yet to see that place in fog. But this is kind of my plan B, is there are a lot of really, there's 3 roads mainly that go through this park, and all of them on either side are surrounded with some excellent woodland scenes. Obviously, there's some trails that go through some of these heavily wooded areas, which we might be checking one out later. Emphasis on might. But there's, some pullover spots, and especially if you have a lens like this, there's good opportunities to snipe some of those details. One of which is way across the road here, barren pine branch that I might try to go after. And I'm also just noticing another subject as well. Large barren tree. It's going to be very hard to identify trees without their leaves on them this time of year, but it is, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it's that big guy over there with that one branch that kind of arcs out into the left. And I've kind of got it framed up here on the back of the camera, and I do like it, except the bushes in the foreground are out of focus, so I might do a focus stack on this. Yeah. I'm gonna set my timer. Always like to use a timer, especially when I got this lens on, because yeah, any little bit of movement is definitely gonna show up. And the gentlest of screen taps. I might actually do landscape orientation for this, just so I can get that arcing branch actually in this composition. Don't like extending the center column. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I mean, I don't have to do a focus stack. I could leave the foreground elements, which are just some barren bushes, a lot of sticks sticking on the bottom of the frame. Some have a nice red tinge to them, and it looks pretty nice. But I could always just leave them out of focus and have that sort of like blurry texture and color just be like a nice little framing element on the bottom of the image. So now the other thing I'm gonna go after is this pine branch way, way, way out there. And even at 600, that's cutting it close there. Yeah, and I got the trunk leading in there from the left side. That I'm actually really liking now that I'm seeing it on the back of the camera. I might actually just walk across the road to get a bit closer. Yeah, I think I might do that. But yeah, really quickly, I'll just switch over to this camera so you can see what it is I'm referring to here. But yeah, that barren branch, that pine branch, not the one on the left there, but in the center, hanging down, and then the trunk on the right. So that's kind of a little bit of what I am chasing currently. But with stick season, those are the kind of details that I'm going to be looking for. And as you can see, they are very small details. Ones that you kind of want a telephoto lens for. It's just finding and this might need to be a square crop too because of a branch that's coming in on the left side, which I don't know if there's a way to avoid that branch there. Because getting closer isn't gonna help much, I don't think. And there is a campsite over here. I mean, I suppose I could just walk down the campsite road and get a lot closer. Because there is like a dead tree branch that is just, and I don't know if you can see it on the chest cam here, which is a new thing I'm trying, by the way. Andrew Barufi, he just recently started doing vlogs like this, and I've had this camera and chest strap thing for a long time, and I figured why not give it a shot. But I'm going to be doing a mix of perspectives. Got you over there, got this here. So, yeah, and I was here in the evening a couple days ago, and like, I like coming here in the evening because I can sleep in, I guess, is what I want to say. I mean, there's other nuanced reasons, but that's mainly it. But I mean, it gets dark so early, it feels like you only got like 5 minutes to spend here. All right, I'm gonna move back across the road. I hear a car coming. But I think I'm gonna move down the road a bit and get that shot a little bit closer. And as you can see, gray skies, just gray, dull, overcast. Nothing crazy. But that is some of the best conditions for stuff like this, honestly. Now, this lens might not work over here. Might actually be too close for this low-hanging branch that I was shooting earlier, but hopefully it works because I don't want to run back and switch lenses. I was just talking about how having a telephoto would work great, and then I'm going to put back my wide-angle lens. I mean, it's not really just a wide-angle lens, but yeah, see, new problem here. I don't have the elevation required to grab that, which is tough. Yeah, this would have been so good if there was fog, man. This little area. Yeah. I think we're just going to go back up. That is not going to work out like I thought it would. If anybody has any good recommendations for a specific type of ball head that is good for making very minute micro adjustments, feel free to leave those suggestions. I think that looks pretty decent for now. Might be something I have to come back to. Cool. Alright. Only briefly stopping at this spot here before I move elsewhere. I think I know exactly where I'm going to go after this. And there's a ways from here. It's more of a scout, if anything. But I've got this scene here in front of me with France Brook and a nice tree in the background there. And while I don't think it's absolutely perfect as it is, kind of want to just grab a frame for reference, because this could work in the evening or the morning. Thinking this is more maybe a vertical. A lot of hunters out today. I'm just hoping I don't get capped out here. I'm gonna do both vertical and horizontal. I really don't want to get capped. You know? It's kind of like the last thing. That's always the one annoying thing about coming to a park this time of year, is that they allow hunting. Which, I mean, I get it, right? I get it. But also at the same time, why do I have to worry about getting shot? Right? Also, I've been having some issues with this polarizer lately. It's from Format High Tech. I mean, I've had it for a couple years, but it's actually just, the glass is just free spinning now. So, yeah, that's not good. I don't know if it's like letting in any light leaks or anything like that. I mean, it still polarizes when I twist the thing, so that's good. But I noticed it rattling quite a bit the past couple times I've gone to use it, and I finally tried to investigate it, and yeah, it turns out that glass in there is just completely loose. So that will need addressing at some point. Which I just bought a polarizer for the 600. I returned the Polar Pro one because that one was terrible, and ended up getting this Case Wolverine magnetic. The Case one was freaking, or the Polar Pro one was garbage. Like, the thing would not screw onto my lens whatsoever, and when it did, when I thought I had it screwed on, it would just pop right off. Alright, action cam died on me, but yeah, I don't know what's wrong with their threads. It just did not work. So we sent it back and got a case. Also, another thing to note here is, if it is a particularly sunny day and it's foggy, this tree line here might cast some rays, some light and shadow rays down into this scene, which I think could look really, really well. That's just kind of my thought process right now. I mean, snow, fog, anything would look better than it is right now, but just a reference frame to have for now. So, and now that the understory is dying down a bit, all the, you know, I don't know what to call it, brush, it's a little easier to see things too, in terms of this little brook here, France Brook. That's behind me. So, alright, time to move on to a new spot that we're going to be scouting for the first time. Yeah, so I had to actually re-record this scene, but it's fine because I had to come back to the truck anyways. It's basically just kind of talking about one of the overlooked benefits of stick season, and that is the fact you can see so much through the tree line. And especially in a place like this, where having that added visibility is so important because most of the area is just forest. I mean, driving down here, I saw at least, I don't know, a good handful of comps that I haven't seen before, just because there's no undergrowth, if that makes any sense. Alright. It was a little bit more difficult than expected just to get to this spot, and this isn't even the comp that I was trying to get to. This isn't even the comp I was trying to get to. So I think this will probably be 16 by 9. Trying to get this tree trunk here on the left. Now I'm not going to shoot it in 16 by 9. I'm going to just switch over to 16 by 9 and see if, and frame it up, I guess, while it's in 16 by 9. I really want this gnarly tree trunk here on the right. Alright. I think we got that set up. Alright. Underexposing slightly. Water is a bit smooth there, which is perfect. I might step into the water a bit more. Water is quite deep here. And these rocks are quite slippery. It's almost like it'd be on the other side of the creek. Might need to come back for that, because we still have a ways to go down. Maybe I could try this. Yeah, see, actually I kind of like that better. And I think a 16 by 9 here would still work great. Yeah, I think that's a little better. Now, I do want to walk up through here to get down to like where the creek takes a turn, because there's a nice evergreen that's hanging over a larger section of the creek with some rapids like we got there. Yeah, I just like this tree trunk and everything that's going on here. I think I'm going to do one focusing on the trunk. All these gnarly roots. Some kind of birch. Might be like, it's not river birch, it could be yellow birch. And none of those names help when identifying them, because a yellow birch is not yellow, like, in the slightest. At least not in my opinion. Alright. Hopefully we don't run into any 8-legged hitchhikers, because that would be a nightmare. Yeah, here we go. Yes. Alright. This is what I was looking for. I think you guys can kind of see what I'm trying to get to up here. So one thing this park has lots of, it's really nice woodland creeks. This one happens to be next to a cabin trail, which I actually forget the name, but there's a sign literally down the road that says what it is. Yeah, and there's a cabin thing, and there's like a road in the background there, so kind of don't want that in the shot, if at all possible. Yeah, there's like a little like dam here. I don't know if it's a beaver dam or what it is. I mean, I kind of want to include these rapids behind me, but I mean, seeing it from the road is always so deceptive because you're up high. So you get to see it, you know, in a completely different way than how you see it when you actually come down to the thing. And I've run into that so many times. And it is annoying. Because, like, for example, I've taken all this effort to get down here, only to be like, well, I think it's better from the road. But the view from the road isn't that great. And it's not very accessible either. All right. I think that's good there. Gonna focus on the foreground. I'm in aperture priority mode. I've been in aperture priority mode the whole time. Yeah, and I like that. The only thing I still don't like, I'm just trying to make sure I don't have any like cabins in the background, which there is a cabin right there. I'm trying to keep that cropped out. It's just not something I really care to have in the picture. But I think when you're up on the road, I mean, I might be able to get up on that bank back there just to get a little elevation, because it's gonna push those branches that I really like down below where that guardrail and that dirt road is over there. Oh yeah, this is the Kaiser Trail. That's what it's called. Alright. I'm gonna move back now. Trying to step very carefully here. Alright, I think that's, yeah. There we go. Yeah, very, very slippery. Very, 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 very slippery. Whoa. Honestly, the building in the background there and the road is kind of concealed actually pretty nicely, at least from what I'm seeing here. I might just not be able to see it that well on the back of the LCD. And then when I get into Lightroom, I'm going to be like, oh, there it is. Sticking out like a sore thumb. Trying to get very little sky in this. This is more of a head-on comp. And I can get a little more leeway on the right side without getting that cabin. Not too bad, and this will probably be something I'll have to come back to. It was just one of those little roadside things that you see, and you're like, oh my god, I gotta stop and get that. So, I think it's far from perfect. And I wouldn't be shocked if there's an easier way to get to this. But yeah, man, so many freaking hunters here today. I need to get a bright orange vest, because last thing I'm trying to do is get capped out here. Yeah, I probably could walk in right there. Get a little elevation. Because I really think it's best up on the road. So as I make the ascent up the Mount Seneca / Bear Caves trail en route to the Bear Caves rock formations, I wanted to do a little bit of post commentary and talk about a few things briefly, kind of circling back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, talking about some of the challenges I typically face in stick season, how I deal with those, especially on a morning like we had today. We came in expecting one thing and got a completely different thing, and more so for the worse, right? We had, gray, dull, overcast skies, no light, no atmosphere. How do you make things work on days like these? And, well, truthfully, sometimes you really can't guarantee to make anything work on those days. I mean, to each their own. Some people might really like those types of mornings, and while I don't typically love them, I try to make it work because I feel like no matter the conditions, and this is just a mindset that I have, no matter the conditions, there's always a photo to be had, and I think that's a good mindset to have because there is no bad set of conditions, right? There's always a photo that can work in any given set of conditions, no matter what. You just kind of got to know what you're looking for, right? And that will vary from person to person. But for me, particularly, I like to try to really narrow the field of view and focus in on the smallest of details when things in the big picture just aren't working, right? We didn't have any atmosphere, not really any light, especially there early in the morning, as you can see now as I'm checking out this potential seasonal stream. There's a little bit of light coming through, but everything else not looking super fantastic. Just kind of making some mental notes for some spots to return to when conditions are more favorable for this particular scene. But again, going back to just those smaller details, like you'll see in a moment, focusing on texture and things like that, grabbing the telephoto lens and just going small, like you saw even at the beginning of the video, focusing in on distant trees and how they are set against, the background, how they contrast very well, that pine branch and how it kind of sticks out from the background, even in the dullest, flattest of lighting. Just some things to take note of. And it can be a little discouraging to not get the conditions you want. But again, one thing I always tell myself, there's always a photo to be had no matter what. Do with that what you will, and don't be super discouraged when you go out next time and you don't get exactly what you're looking for. It's always an opportunity to learn, do some scouting like I'm doing here, and move on and live to fight another day, so to speak. So, yeah. Now we will continue on to our next location, which is the Bear Caves rock formations. If you've watched any of my other videos, it's very similar to Thunder Rocks, and this is my first time checking it out, so let's see what that offers. Yeah, this is the first time I'm laying eyes on this stuff. It's like a giant barricade. So it looks like. So I guess the one thing that's a bit more unique about this spot compared to Thunder Rocks is how it's kind of on a slope, which I think is nice, actually. Especially if you're trying to get some shots without the sky in it, you can kind of stand down on the hill a ways and shoot up at everything, and you'll have the hill in the background instead of the sky. These erosion patterns are just crazy. Kind of like the way these three boulders kind of intersect. That would need to be a focus stack for sure. I just kind of like the way these three boulders are set against each other. Or maybe this is better, I don't know. Creating some shapes, triangles and the like. So you have these striations going this way, you have those going that way, and then this kind of slopes down here. I think that's kind of neat. I'm not super sold on it as is, but I think it could be interesting. I like I think they're decent compositions, but still hesitant to pull the camera out. I mean, this whole thing is like a giant wall. It's kind of like really, really unique. Like, look at that. Look how far that goes. I mean, it's not that far, but you get the point. I'll have to walk up there shortly. I think I'm just gonna get the camera out. I just can't believe this polarizer busted, man. I also did another small art show this weekend. Well, Friday and Saturday. It's actually pretty successful. Not gonna lie. I still want to make a video about doing those. Maybe once I do a few more. I mean, this is something I've really only looked into towards the latter half of the year. So, I mean, with that being the way that it is, I kind of ended up missing signups for a lot of the bigger shows in my area. And I'll have to wait till next year to sign up. But it's not such a tragedy, though. Don't need to be at ISO 1600 anymore. Yeah. I mean, I think this is kind of neat. Just kind of using perspective to pin these boulders together. No, I don't really know what else this could benefit from. I don't know. It's a very simple composition. It's just the way these rocks come together. I don't know why you can see that there, but that's the gist of it. Maybe I can get closer and eliminate some of the messy foreground, or as much as I can. I just like that it's creating some triangles, some shapes. Kind of a couple of them, actually. I mean, where that big gap is, you got a small triangle there, and then you got a much bigger one being created by this edge here, and then this down here, and then these striations on this other boulder. Not the craziest thing I've ever shot, but it's cool. Man, those gunshots are making me nervous. Like, I'm just trying to take pictures, man. I don't want to get shot. You know? Yeah, I'm gonna try a focus stack here. I don't know if I'll need it, but I might. One for here and then one for the closest part. And I'll just do one right in the center just to make sure. Cool. Cool beans. I'm gonna try actually the comp that I have with all three of them. That will definitely 100% have to be a focus stack. That's a focus stack if I ever saw one. Alright, let's do it. The closest rock, the middle rock, and then the background rock. Just a lot of lines. That's all it is. Just a play on all these lines. And maybe one for this really close back corner. Focus stacking can be tricky. Like, even if you have something like Helicon Focus, or if you're good at doing it in Photoshop or however you do it. I mean, sometimes I feel like it's very easy to miss certain focus points. You know, this could be another interesting intersection. of stones. And there's a little trail right there to go up on top of the rocks, which is where we're going to go next. Yeah, see, like, this is something I should have framed up with the little viewer. I'm just stacking like crazy here. Maybe go a little tighter. No, I actually don't like that being tighter. I'm just going to do one at f16 maybe. Maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. Again, it's just this rock intersecting that rock and those lines, and it's all actually really cool. Ooh, putting the tread in these new boots to the test. Now, who's up here carving stuff into the stone? Who the hell is doing that? Oh, that's really cool. That's freaking cool right there. Look at that. I actually have to turn so you guys can see that. Look down there. That's cool. It's like a little cave here. Little cove. That's cool. A little sunburst right there too, actually. You could hide that one tree behind the big tree there. A little sunburst peeking through. This would actually look amazing with fog. I'm just thinking about that now. Maybe if I just remove the separation completely. Maybe we do a vertical comp here. Actually, no. Vertical is not going to cut it. See, I want to kind of give some separation here. But I don't know if I really like these two trees being together, so I was like, well, maybe I'll just move so the one tree covers the other tree. But when you do that, this trunk here, I think, is just too close to the wall. I mean, I can make them just kind of converge in the frame here. But I don't know if I like that either. Maybe I just leave the two trees as they are. This is really neat. Yeah, this is really cool. That is very, very unique. Don't have to worry about getting shot in here. This little bunker. I wonder too, like, maybe in the wintertime if these guys are like covered in icicles, or and I also wonder another thing too is maybe if the sun is lower in the sky, I mean, who knows, maybe there's like a beam of light that'll shine through this corridor here that you'll be able to see when you're standing back here, like a beam of light kind of coming through, hitting that wall. This is still dark, if that kind of makes sense. I mean, it's an interesting composition. I just don't know how much I actually like it just yet. I mean, obviously, I think the conditions could be better. I think fog would send this composition into another dimension. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm going to try this up here. And these are some type of birch. Might actually be yellow birch. I know I'm usually good with my trees, but There are some types of trees that are hard to identify, especially this time of year. Who would have thought? Kind of seems like I'm just shooting from the hip right now, and honestly, that is what I'm kind of doing. The whole morning got off to a weird start today, so I've been trying to find a groove. It's one of those days where you kind of just find yourself in a funk. I was expecting there to be fog. Like, all the weather apps are calling for fog. Windy, clear outside. The Weather Channel app, like, and then just no fog. Literally none. So that threw me for a loop. That's what I get for letting my expectations get too high. And then the other thing is, like, I had no idea how many freaking hunters would be here today. Like, I swear, I've never ever seen that many cars. Well, they're all trucks, but I've never seen that many vehicles parked along the side of the road here. I mean, at trailheads, some of my creek pullovers. I mean, not that they're mine exclusively, but and some other places I was driving by and wanted to check out, and I was like, you know what? I probably really should have a orange coat on or something, or an orange hat, because I've just been hearing gunshots all morning. I think that's kind of unique. You got this branch here, this guy, kind of encased in these stones. All these have a very angular shape. Like, they're all like square, like giant cubes. Yeah, this place is pretty cool. It's actually a very neat spot. And I think, like I was saying earlier, maybe there's a chance for some interesting light play with the angle of the sun this time of year. If, like, we actually do get fog, maybe a light beam coming through that opening there. Or maybe even any of these openings, to be honest. Like, who knows? Definitely food for thought. Alright, so just quickly stopping here at a good old Science Lake. Drove by here earlier, and it was glass, and it still is, actually, surprising with the breeze. But I'll show you some things that I kind of punched on with a 600. That one little tiny little pine right there, and then that bigger guy up on the hill there with those beech leaves behind it. Kind of went after a couple of those scenes, and I think I did like a reflection shot there, like perfect reflection, barcode of barren trees. So I think I'd give you guys an update on what I just stopped to shoot. But yeah, some of the other roadside pullovers are going to be hard to get to today anyways. I might just save those for another day. So yeah, we're out here on our roadside journey still. Honestly, have been contemplating actually just leaving for a little bit for now, because for the reasons I think I've already mentioned a billion times, and that's that I don't want to. What the hell is that? It's like a stone structure over there. Huh. Yeah, there's so many places I just want to walk into the woods from the side of the road. But again, probably not a good idea with how much hunting is going on. This is the one scene that I wanted to stop for right here. This tree here against this little creek. Trying not to include any of the sky here as per usual. Handheld right now. And you would think that including the sky, or not including the sky, wouldn't be that hard, but it is. Should remember to polarize there. I mean, I also need to remember that I can crop too. because there's a bunch of like growth here in the foreground, some goldenrods and stuff like that I do not want in the foreground, and some of them are just creeping in, and then a little bit of sky creeps in at the top when I'm trying to avoid it. I'm still also trying to figure out, I mean, I have a method, it's just not a very practical one all the time, and the problem is when I'm driving past a lot of these compositions that I see on the side of the road, like here along ASP3, I'm seeing them from an elevated standpoint or perspective of being up in a truck. And then when I get out to explore them, you know, I'm like a few feet down, and then things look different, or they don't look as good, or they just look terrible from being so close to the ground, or that much closer to the ground. And I've done things where I'll pull over on the side of the road and, you know, put the tailgate down and jump up on that, and that helps quite a bit, actually, more than you'd think. But trying to, I guess, aim the truck where I need it to be, it's also easier said than done. Yeah, I don't think I really see anything down here. See, this little section looks worse now that it's stick season, but whereas before, didn't look so bad. I mean, I think pretty much all the roadside spots that I've found today, even just like these trees and these wetlands, like a little bit of fog, and I think they'll be fantastic. So busy today, man. I was not expecting this. I mean, I'm not a hunter, obviously, so I don't really pay attention to when the hunting season kicks off. It is also a Sunday, so I guess a lot of people do that on Sunday morning. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it too much, but definitely noticing it today. I think I'm gonna move on. I notice I keep driving back and forth because I'll see something and I don't stop, or I can't, you know, find a pullover quickly, so I gotta like drive down farther and then turn back around and then pull over somewhere. All right, so I think that is gonna do it for today. I was trying these birches in that field over there. I don't know how well you guys can see them or not, but there's a whole bunch of birches over there, but I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think a lot of stuff will probably work today. A lot of scouts, and just amazed how much the stick season is revealing here. And yeah, I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. It's one of the greatest things about the season. Like, if you're gonna do a lot of scouting, if you got a lot of ambitions for exploring new areas, this is the time of year to do it. There's no understory. There's no bugs for the most part, right? Especially once that first snow falls here in the Northeast, all that stuff's going to be packed down for the most part, and you can just see through the tree line. And that's basically what I've been doing today, going through some of these, you know, more remote areas of the park that I didn't really spend any time in at all last year. Yeah, at all last year, especially this time of year. And it's amazing to see how many little creeks and valleys and little woodland scenes and marsh scenes I've found. And we would have had a field day today if it wasn't for the no fog thing. But now we're even more prepared for when that does actually happen. Yeah, and also need that orange vest. That's the other major takeaway today. It's been a big jumbled mess, but we made it work. I hope this video is kind of inspiring to you guys. If you ever are out shooting and you get into a weird funk, one thing after another just isn't going your way, a bunch of unexpected variables, this, that, and the other thing. So hopefully what I did today can kind of help you on your next outing where you may struggle a bit. So, because I know I definitely did today. But I've got an hour, probably hour, 25-minute drive home. And I'll see you guys around. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this new first-person POV mix in there as well. So, see you guys later.